Welcome. It's Linda Beard with Bold Enough. How are you? Thank you so much for letting me come into your world today. I am just so thrilled to be able to have discussions and talk about bold enough. Why? Why do you want to be bold enough? And why is this bold enough podcast worth listening to? Well, I'll tell you why. If you want to live a life of peace and joy and be loved for who you are, you got to be true to yourself. And so Bold Enough was actually birthed out of my journey where I was just wrapped up in being somebody that I wasn't. I didn't intentionally do it. It just happened. It happened because I really liked the responses that I got, from people pleasing, whether it was in a relationship or whether it was in corporate America. But after a while, if you fall into that trap of people pleasing and other entrapments that I will discuss on the podcast, and it's outlined and detailed in my book, that you will end up eventually not knowing who you are. And I hit a brick wall. It was pretty hard. And when I say a brick wall, I'm sharing with you, I looked in the mirror because I was experiencing unhappiness ongoing. I guess I could really say to myself that I acknowledged that I was a dead woman walking. I had become just what anybody wanted me to be within reason. And that's not the life that I wanted. That life took me down to a path of 29 years in a marriage, and 27 of those years, I was not who I was authentically. I was a yes'em. I didn't express how I felt. I was miserable. And then I can take that same kind of lack of expression and being truly who I am and take that over to corporate America. Did very well and still am doing well in corporate America. But now the difference is I can sit around a table and bring a perspective and be bold enough about it. Before, I wouldn't say a word. Maybe I had the right answer, but I said, let's just do this because it didn't matter what I thought. Well, it does matter what I think. And that's a point sometimes we just don't see as being low self-esteem or not loving yourself enough. I never ever thought I didn't have self-esteem, but isn't self-esteem part of loving yourself? Think about that. So when I hit the brick wall, so miserable in life, but on the outside, it looked like I had everything going on. I couldn't carry the facade anymore. I could have received a Grammy Award. What about you? How many Grammys have you gotten by being fake? It was time for me because I was miserable to start being me. And from that day forward, I had to examine how am I going to be me? And what is it going to take to be me? I'll tell you that I started being more honest with myself and I started sharing with people how I felt. That felt good. That was a really, really good start. And then I got better at it. I was taking the necessary actions to be me. I was bolder. I had more courage. And I'm going on in life now 3-4 months happier because I was making those baby steps of being true to me, being bold enough to be me. But then I entered into a relationship and it was going really, really well. I had gotten a divorce, entered in a relationship about a year later. And then it was a friend that said to me, "You are so detached." And I said, what? You're a detached person. You are looking for every reason in the world for this relationship to not work. I did not understand what the person meant because I'm thinking I've come a long way from not expressing how I feel, not knowing who I was anymore. I'm not unhappy. I'm happier. But she was like, one day you'll understand what I'm talking about is that you're so detached. You need to heal. You've got a lot of stuff that you need to heal from. So she recommended that I buy this particular book about healing. I got the book, I put it on my nightstand, but then she also said, you'll get it one day and you'll pick up the book. That really started the hard work of my Bold Enough journey. Lying in my bed one night, I had a moment. I didn't know what the moment was about. I just knew that I was teary-eyed, I was feeling lonely, I was feeling detached. The actual word detached came into my mind, and I pick up this book. And that book began to share with me as I was reading those pages that I do need to heal. I'm detached because I have so much baggage that I haven't healed from. So even though that I started the Bold Enough journey, I hadn't done the hard work. Not really, not the foundational work. What I did do is I made an intentional effort to try to be me, to be honest with me, to express more, which I had not expressed in the past. But when I realized what my friend was telling me about being detached, I realized then through that particular book that I needed to heal and I needed to forgive. So, listeners, I'm sharing with you that as I challenge you to be bold enough, it can't be a soft bold enough. It's got to be a deep dive run and cleansing your mind, detoxifying it, and allowing yourself to be fully free to be authentically you. So, my book will start out talking about being bold enough to be me. So, I made that decision. I'm going to be bold enough to be me. You need to make that decision. But then it's not just getting good little encouragement from this podcast as we talk about the different journey of being bold enough, but it's actually doing the hard work. So get your mind around it now, as I had to, is initial steps of making that decision to be bold enough, but then I got to do the hard work. So the hard work is healing and forgiveness. Those are the two foundational pieces to getting to the full freedom of being authentically you. So, bold enough to heal, bold enough to forgive. You've got to go back and look at those traumatic events and write them down and look at your reaction to all of those events. Was there a common trend? For me, there was. I ran away. And I never looked back. I replaced my hurt with something else. You may be doing that today and you think that it is okay. People will tell you, oh, you're hurting. Oh, just forget about it. Just go keep yourself busy. There are times when you need to stop and come to grips truly with how you really feel about that event and deal with it and then heal. And then bold enough to forgive. There were things in my life I had not forgiven myself for. And then there were other people. So I had to tighten that up. I had to take those bold enough actions to forgive. Between the healing and the forgiving that's when I began to soar. I felt like 25 pounds lighter because I didn't have the baggage. We go on detox diets, to lose weight physically. But I'm telling you, it was probably 25 pounds of mental weight that I was carrying around that I had to detox from. And I'm so glad I did. And when I detoxed mentally, I felt better spiritually, I felt better physically. And that is the foundation that got me to really on my way to be bold enough. So that birthed my journey of bold enough. That birthed me to come to you today and to say, it's time to be bold enough. You can live this great, exciting life of peace and joy. There will be bumps in the road, but you have already established that you love you more than anyone else that's walking around on this earth. And you're going to protect that feeling of what it feels like to feel good, authentically good, not on a momentary high, but on an ongoing basis. When you wake up and you look at yourself in the mirror, you love yourself and you're saying, I am glad I am me. When I look at myself every morning, there's a twinkle in my eye. There's a pep in my step when I walk out of the house or I'm singing again around the house. I am free. I want that for you. So the additional chapters in the book is my journey, but they're also crucial pieces that you will have to be bold enough to do. Some may apply in every single chapter. You can say, oh, that's me. That's me. Other chapters, you may say, check mark. I got that. I'm good. I've made it a daily habit in protecting myself to be who I am supposed to be. So let me give you some sneak previews in this discussions. Bold enough to take a risk. Are you bold enough to take a risk regardless of what people are saying around you because you always wanted to do it? There's opportunity on that other side, along with the freedom that you finally took the risk, even if you fail at it. Most people that are successful have failed, but be bold enough to take the risk. If you don't take the risk, you will regret it. And regret is not a part of being bold enough. Taking the risk to be bold enough is where you want to be. Being bold enough to walk away. How many of you are in situations right now where you are saying to yourself, I need to walk away? It is not healthy to your overall being of being authentically you. It's not in your best interest. You got to be bold enough to walk away. Bold enough to stand for something. I used to stand for something as long as it was in agreement with the group that was in the crowd, as long as it didn't jeopardize my integrity. That's not where I stand anymore. I stand on what I believe. So whatever your belief is about, life in general or about religion or about mental health or whatever it may be, stand on it. Stand for something, because if you don't stand for something, you stand for nothing. And nothing is nothing, right? And so then we'll talk about being bold enough to ask. How many times have you really wanted to ask a question, but you were afraid of the truth? You're afraid of the truth. I've been there. I would rather have lived in a fairy tale world than deal with the truth, because sometimes the truth is hurtful. It's not what you want to hear. But I'm okay with hearing the truth now. And I'll deal with it because I've learned how to heal. I've learned how to forgive. And there's an ongoing process of healing, and you're going to have hurt. So it's a constant, every day, there's going to be a situation that's going to hurt your feelings. It just is. But once you learn how to heal, once you learn how to forgive, it becomes a part of your daily cleansing mentally, of being bold enough and keeping that joy and that peace. We're going to talk about bold enough to live. Many of us have thought we're not good enough to live a luxurious life, or this life that is just so filled of just being able to do what you want. Got to be bold enough to live. If you're breathing, don't just breathe. Live life. Live life to its fullest. And what does that mean for you? You're not living someone else's life anymore. You're living your life. I'm living my life. It's great. It's great to live your own life and not be told or look around and try to fit into a certain mold. So, are you also ready to be bold enough to tell the truth? Starting with yourself, telling the truth to yourself. How many of you have lied to yourself or just been in denial? Been there. I have been there. I am so thankful now when I see the truth, I don't deny the truth. I see it, I don't deny it. I take action. And that action, again, is going to be a bold enough action to protect me, my authentic self, protect this peace, this joy, this life that I am living now. But you got to be bold enough. I want you to ponder that for a second. Are you bold enough to speak the truth, to know the truth, to want the truth? Remember, don't fear the answer. When you get the answer, then you can act. Bold enough action to act for the protection of you. Bold enough to love. I know this is going to be a deep subject because love comes in very different forms, but I'm speaking of that unconditional love, that deep love, that love that you've already now learned to experience, loving yourself first more than anybody else walking around on this earth, right? Now you're ready to partner with someone else if it's in a love relationship. You are ready because all the baggage is gone. You've lifted that 25 pounds of mental baggage. It's gone. You've healed. You learn to love yourself. You've learned to live life. You're not afraid anymore because you're bold enough to ask. You're bold enough to be truthful, right? Now you're ready for that relationship. And I'm sharing with you right now, listeners, if you're out there in a relationship and you've got all this baggage, you're not ready for a relationship. You're headed down a downward spiral because all of that baggage is going to come out in that relationship and it's going to be ugly. So once you get rid of the baggage, then you can love deeply. You know what's great is I'm not in the relationship yet, but I know it's coming and I know that I'm ready. But the encounters of just dating and going out with men has been fun for me because it's like, here I am. I'm in love with myself in a healthy way and I'm worth it. I have value. And when we're having conversation, I am who I am. And guess what? It's been pretty exciting for the gentleman on the other side of the table for out to dinner because he's like, I just love that you're you. If I like to eat this, I like to eat it. If I don't like to eat it, I don't like to eat it. There's no fake left in me because I'm enjoying my life. I love it. And I'm not going to go on a different path to be in a relationship when I can't be me. Is that your case? Are you ready? Or are you like, oh, I'm going to go out, but he'll probably like this or that? No, no, no. Gentlemen, it's the same thing for you. You're going out with a young lady. Be you. Be authentically you. But don't go out with anyone. Don't get involved in a relationship if you haven't said, I'm going to be bold enough to be me. I'm going to do the hard work. I'm going to heal, forgive, get rid of this 25-pound baggage. Some of you may have 50 or 60. That's okay. No one's judging how much baggage you have. You're going to work through it. We'll work through it together through encouragement. So bold enough to heal, bold enough to take risks, bold enough to walk away, bold enough to ask, bold enough to fulfill your purpose. It's interesting. Once I got rid of all of this toxicity in my mind, then I could go back to doing what I was created to do. And that is, I'm a motivator. I'm an encourager. I'm in all form right now. I'm reaching out to all of you out there and I'm saying, I'm encouraging you to be bold enough. I'm motivating you to be bold enough. I'm inspiring you to be bold enough by being vulnerable myself to tell my journey. So in my book, you'll hear a lot more detail, but we will touch the surface and complement that book by having real discussions here at Bold Enough. Because I want you to get ready. I want you to get geared up. It would not make me happier to just see all of you letting me know that you've taken that bold enough challenge to be bold enough to be you. You can log on to my website, bold-enough.com. It will have the Bold Enough Challenge there, and you can actually reach out, contact, and say, I have decided to be bold enough. And because you have decided to come along and join this journey, then you will also see communications coming out to you, as well as after each podcast, there will be a chat room for 2 hours where this community of people that have said, I'm ready to be bold enough, will discuss the topic of that week that's on this podcast. And we will chat back and forth. And from time to time, I will have specialists come on and chat with you to encourage you to move towards certain resources to get more help. Because healing is hard. You can't necessarily do it alone. When you have to forgive someone, sometimes you may need professional help. So the podcast is to encourage you. But also, I want to go a step further. I want you to get the full help that you need. So on the website, we will be able to reach out to you, provide those resources and that encouragement by being in the chat room. But to be in the chat room, ladies and gentlemen, you have to decide to join the Bold Enough Challenge. That's the way that you get in, is you're ready to be bold enough to be you. I'm so excited. I hope that you can hear the excitement in my voice. And it is because I love life. I truly, truly love life. And it is a marvelous place to be because I took the steps to be bold enough. That friend that said that you are detached, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm going to have you on the show so that you can tell them how I looked at you when you told me I was a detached person and I thought I had it all going on. I'm glad that you were my friend. So listeners, I want to be your friend. Invite me into your world. I'm going to be that person, at least on a weekly basis, that you're going to think we're on the phone talking and chatting about, what, girl? What? Guy, you really did that? Dude, for real? We're going to have discussions that bring us closer together because guess what? I love humanity. I believe in taking care of one another. And being bold enough will give us the opportunity to help more and more and more people. It's unfortunate that society has molded us to be people that we're not because we feel the pressure that we have to fit a certain mold. Do you know that someone is waiting for you to be you? Because you're going to encourage them, inspire them to take advantage of their purpose or take a risk or to stand for something. I'm hoping that today, by listening to this introduction of my podcast, that I have inspired you by being bold enough to be me, using my purpose. And I cannot wait to get the feedback from you in chat rooms and reaching out and contacting me at lbeard@bold-enough.com. I believe in you. You can have the best life ever, ever. I want you to look in the mirror, gentlemen, ladies, young men, and see the twinkle in your eye that you're worth it. Love yourself more than anyone walking around on this earth. Make a decision to be bold enough.